The film was inspired by, sort of broadly, my own friendship with Charlie Covell, who wrote the script, and we were very inspired by other films over the past couple of years that have distilled something about the complex and nuanced and beautiful subtlety of female friendship. Things like everything from Lena Dunham's Girls and Tiny Furniture to Noah Baumbach's films. So we were seeing other work that was about, female friendship and celebrating that, and then this film is a bit of a message in a bottle to all of those sort of other brilliant pieces of work, and also a very personal one because we put so much of ourselves into it and invited the girls into that, and we've all become lovely friends as a result, which is, I think, a testament to, I hope, how successfully we achieved that in the film.
To Dan.
To Dan. To Dan.
The fact that there are complex and real women at the heart of the film is very important to us. We hope that a few moments into the film they just become people, it's just like anyone else. But I think it is surprisingly rare, or it has been up until relatively recently, to see female friendships so honestly portrayed and women allowed to be complicated and difficult and flawed in the way that Chloe and Laura so brilliantly play, and that's a testament to Charlie Covell's wonderful script. And so I think it is both very important and also not important, because it should be fine to have a film that's very female and, it not being a big deal.
Certainly watching Chanya and Charlie together, you can see how the way they talk is mirrored by Seth and Alex, and that felt very authentic and very important to have people making films like that. It's not always the case.
I've been calling this Dan's dongle.
I've had a brilliant idea. I bequeath you my ashes.
I think that, so for instance, the character that Jack Farthing plays, Dan, is just as central to the themes of the film, grief and honesty and friendship, and is a very strong and sort of nuanced offering of what it's like to be a young man. I think that the character that Nigel Planer plays, Jack's dad in the film, is again a really sensitive and empathetic portrayal of a man who kind of inherited a son, and through his relationship with his wife, and tried to do well by him. I think Joe Dempsey's performance playing Seth's boyfriend again is somebody that's a very honest portrayal of a man in a relationship with someone who he desperately cares about, but they're just not on the same page. So I think that that's maybe an impression you get because you're not used to seeing women being in the forefront, you therefore think the men aren't being given space, but actually they're given a load of space in the film, and I think that the actors who we worked with on those characters gave wonderful and sensitive and just as nuanced and interesting performances as these ladies. Working with Chloe and Laura was absolutely wonderful. They had an enormous amount of faith in Charlie's brilliant script.
And we just had a really good time making it, which I think translates very well. You can see that in the film. And the chemistry is real. We are having a good time, and that was the case across the whole cast, I think.
We shot the film and we shot sort of in sequence as much as possible. We sort of did the road trip in the order that it happens in the film. We were very close. It was very creative and very collaborative, and Laura and Chloe gave really wonderful performances.
Yeah, I think it's really common that people see a performance and assume that the actor must be very similar to the character they play, and one has to take that as a compliment that they've done a good job. of convincing people that you are that person, and you have to just assume that it's a real compliment to your acting. And I think that Alex is very different from me in some ways, but there are definitely characteristics that she has that I definitely have. I think she's got some difficulties in communicating how she feels, and there are universal traits that Alex has that I think everyone might identify with. And as an actor, it's just a case of pinpointing what those are, and as much as you can, relating it to your own personal experiences, without bringing the character to you in a way that means that you're just playing yourself. You have to find a way to identify with what's going on with them. But I think a lot of the work was done for us by the script, because the characters are so well written and so fully written. Me and Laura we could bring as much of ourselves as we wanted, but these characters were very fully formed on the page as they were. So it was actually easier for us than sometimes it's difficult, because if something is underwritten, you have to invent a lot more. And we didn't have to invent much with these characters, they were kind of very fully formed. So that, I think I have some things in common with her, but some things, hopefully, I'm a lot happier than her at the moment. She's going through a tough time during the course of the film.
Yes, Charlie and I developed the script together for a long time before we took it to Chloe and Laura, and the script and that process, that creative process, during that time the story changed a lot, and we discussed between us different iterations of, we decided to make a film that explored female friendship and that distilled some questions that we were asking about our own lives. But I would say from when we started shooting to when the edit finished, all the changes were really nuanced and really subtle, and it was like building a beautiful building around really sturdy foundations. So it didn't feel like things were lurching around changing, it just felt like some really strong central decisions that we had made were just being sort of fleshed out and embellished more and more the more other brilliant, talented people arrived to add to decisions we had already made. That's sort of what it felt like. So I watch the film now and I feel that it is, the best version of what we set out to make, which is a nice feeling and not always the case.
Like all art, it's a way of us understanding ourselves, and I think that's kind of all I can really say. It's one of the many ways in which human beings are trying to work out who they are in the world, and I think it's a very good way of doing that. But it's an art form, so I think it's in the same way you could say what is painting, what is theatre, what is singing, what any of these things. They're all a way of us trying to understand ourselves. So that's my opinion.
It's amazing. Absolutely
so
amazing. We've just had the most wonderful time. It's such a pleasure to go somewhere you've never been and share work that means a lot to you. And I think especially in light of the way our country have just voted and Brexit and all that, it feels like a more important time than ever for those of us who cherish our relationship with Europe. It feels like a more important time than ever to bring our film somewhere like this and say, we want to share this with you. We want you to share your work with us. For Chloe to go and work with Paolo Sorrentino, I'd love to make a film here. So it feels like it's felt like a very poignant time to come here. And I think that the Umbria Film Festival is incredibly beautiful.
So beautiful.
And
everyone's been so welcoming and lovely and kind.
We've had a lovely time.
We've had a lovely, relaxing time, enjoying your food and beautiful views and watching films in a lovely outdoor setting. It's really nice. So we can't do that in the UK because it's too cold. Can't watch films outside so much. So it's nice to do that here.
Try not to fuck it up.